I'm the soul challenger, I'm the road damager. Now behold the cold and the straight magical. Cause the sky brings fires and the strong grow weary. The heroes built blood and the blast and the fury. Pray on the power and pray to your father. Cause all of the quakes in the universe resonate to your heartbeat and your faith.
Hey guys, Tyson Popplestone here. Welcome back. This is the Intention Podcast. You already knew that because you probably just clicked on it. It's not even funny. I don't know. It's hard doing this by myself because honestly, I say a joke that I find funny and I laugh out loud, and now you're just all judging me because I make a ridiculous joke, laugh at myself, and you think it wasn't that funny. Anyway, let's move on. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're here. It's good to have you guys here. If you're new, welcome. This is a space where usually I'll catch up with someone I find interesting about why they do the things they do, why they live the way they live. I love tapping into people's mindsets and just finding out the inspiration and the motivation and the whatever it is that just keeps them chasing and keeps them pursuing whatever it is that they're pursuing. I'm doing it over here in London at the moment where my wife and I are living now. We've been here for just on a year, which has gone ridiculously quick. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been working in some schools all around London on the subject of mindset. I've been chatting to them about anxiety and depression, and at the end of each session, I always have a question and answers time where I ask the kids if they've got any questions that they want to ask me, and most of them are way too cool to ask questions face to face. So when everyone starts going out of the room, there's usually 5 or 6 kids who come up and go, "Hey, Tys, mate, do you reckon I could just ask you a couple of questions?" And I can almost guarantee that every single time a session finishes, a kid will come up and ask about depression or ask about anxiety, or they'll ask about an element of their mindset that they just don't really know how to control, and they feel a little alone in, they feel a little unique, and they feel like they're stuck, that there's no way out. And I always like chatting to these kids about this because it's something that at a young age I really responded to. I mean, I really understood the power of the mind. And I was, if you ask anyone in my family at a young age, I was such an anxious, just OCD kid who just, I think it was a combination of both of those things that just made me a difficult person to be around from time to time. But anxiety for me, when I look back to my childhood, is something that really stands out. And as a middle distance runner at the time, I also knew that, you know, the great athletes seem to have this capacity to be in control of their mind. They were able to see the situation that they were in a better way than a lot of the other athletes who weren't running as well as what they were could. And I always found that really interesting. So from a young age, I saw the potential of the mind. And from a young age, I started to research it and really look into it. And it's funny now that I look back, something that was such a weakness for me has become such a passion. And I think like anything, when you can sort of feel the pain that people might be going through in a particular issue because you've walked through it yourself, you're more inspired to help. And I definitely feel like that's one of those things. I look back and see my own anxiety and frustration and things like that around the subject of the mind as a real foundation for what it is that I'm doing now, coaching kids all around the world on the subject of mindset. And what I find interesting on this subject, however, is it's not just kids that deal with it. I mean, I talk in schools about anxiety and depression, and then I leave a school and I'll talk at a corporate event, and at the end, you know, a 40 or 50-year-old will come up and say, "Man, like I'm still dealing with this stuff." And it's true. I mean, anxiety and depression, if we've got no tools to overcome it, then there's no way that we're actually going to be able to beat it. So I think one of the problems on the subject is there's just not a lot of information, or there's just not a lot of people and not a lot of places that people know to go to look for this information. But one of the crazy things is when you get your hands on the information that you actually need, there's some proven, simple, practical and really quick tools that can help us get on top of the situation that we find ourselves in. And that's what I wanted to spend a couple of days this week doing. I wanted to mix it up a bit and speak about an element of the mindset and how we can adjust the way we use our mind to see not better results necessarily, but just feel better in the way that we operate, feel better from a day-to-day basis. And hey, if that happens to have positive results on every other element of our life, which it will, so be it. That's exciting. But what I wanted to do is, and before we even start, let's be clear, there's an infinite amount of information that we could potentially go over on the subject of the mind. And I'm sure in the next couple of months and years and however long we keep this podcast going for, we're going to cover a few more elements of that mindset. But what I wanted to do this week was just choose 3. I wanted to choose 3 areas that we can keep coming back to. And what I love about having them here on the podcast is, like anything, this stuff takes time. I mean, you don't go to a gym once and expect to have a 6-pack. Unless you're my brother-in-law, he's got the best genes. I honestly don't understand how he does it. Anyway, I'm clearly jealous about it. If you're like most people, if you're like me, you want to see results in the gym, you have to go back time after time after time for months on end before you start seeing the results. And I think unless you know that, you can leave the gym after that first session and be like, oh shit, this is terrible. This is so much harder than I thought. But the truth is, the mindset's the exact same thing. I mean, we'll try and apply something that we've learnt once and wake up the next day and we're like, oh man, I still feel exactly the same. But our mind can be like that gym membership. I mean, we have to keep coming back. We have to keep practicing. We have to keep practicing. Have to do it day after day. And hey, yeah, sure, there's some immediate results that can happen. But if you do it day after day, month after month, then it doesn't just become something that you're just forcing yourself to do. It becomes a habit. It becomes a routine. It becomes a part of who you are. And before you know it, you can really develop a positive mindset. And that's what I want to leave these little mini series on the mindset here for. I want you to have somewhere where each time you're struggling with a particular thought, a particular feeling, you can come back and you can listen to it again and you can start improving, you can start applying, and you can just keep on repeating that process, because I can promise you, and I know this from personal experience and from stories of thousands of people that I've read and that I've spoken to and that I've met all around the world, the more you practice it, the more positive it's going to be. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the subject of focus. You probably heard it said that, you tend to see what it is that you focus on. And I think on the surface, that can sound like a really cliche sort of answer, kind of a really cliche sort of thing to say. But I mean, on a practical sense, it's true. In fact, why don't we do this right now? For the next 15 seconds, I'm going to show you how true it is. In the room that you're in right now, stop everything that you're doing. Even pause the podcast. Actually, don't pause, because you're not going to be able to hear the activity if you pause it right now. For the next 15 seconds, I want you to stop, and I want you to find absolutely everything in the room or the area that you're in that's blue. Already got 15 seconds. If you've started now, you're cheating. Stop. You haven't said go. 15 seconds starting from now. You want to find everything that's blue. Keep looking around. Absolutely everything in your room that you can find that's blue. If you can, find double figures. Blue, blue, blue. Look around. Look outside if you have to. Got 8 seconds to go. Absolutely everything that you can find that's blue. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. How many yellow things did you find? A trick question, wasn't it? if you're like the rest of the audience that I usually speak to, everyone's looking at me like, you're an idiot, you said what's blue? Yeah. How many yellow things did you find? You see, you might have found 15 blue things, which if you did, that's bloody impressive. Actually, that would almost be a record that I've ever witnessed. So write to me if you did find 15. But how many yellow things did you find? The truth is, you probably did what I just did and quickly looked around your room to find anything yellow, so you had something to answer that question with. Just because you weren't looking for yellow, it doesn't mean it wasn't there. I mean, you found 15 blue things potentially because you are looking for it. This is what I find interesting about speaking to people about their mindset. I mean, we all know people who are just, those people who just, regardless of what they're going through, they always seem to be positive, and it can really piss you off because they're just so positive. Everyone around them's depressed and it's raining and it's wet and it's cold and you're tired, and they're like, yeah, but you know what? Like, at least we got the opportunity to be together. And you're like, shut up. It's so annoying. And then on the flip side of that, we've got that crazy, scary auntie. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Every family has one who, no matter how well things are going in their life, everything's bad. You know the person I'm talking about in your family. Don't say it out loud because they might be around, and that would just make it really awkward for both of you. But what I find interesting is that a lot of us go through the same situation. A lot of us experience the same things. But it's amazing that one person can see the opportunity in it, and another person can see how much that situation sucks. The whole thing, the whole core of that is, what are the people in these situations focusing on? And how is it that we can establish a more positive focus in the midst of that chaos? So when everyone around us, including our crazy auntie, is going, this is shit, what can we focus on that can help us become, a little more positive, a little more efficient, a little more calm, just reduce the anxiety in our own life? I mean, we all have those moments where it's so much easier to see the crap than it is to see the good. And man, the truth is, our focus can be changed very, very quickly. But what a lot of us don't know is when it comes to, a lot of people hear this conversation, they think, oh, it's positive thinking. It's positive. Yeah, I guess it is positive thinking, but it's really practical, proven, simple strategies that we can apply to become more positive in the moments where our crazy auntie's getting angry. And what some of us don't realize is that if you want to change our focus, we have to change the questions that we ask ourselves. So if you want to change your focus, you need to change the question that you ask yourself. Well, what does that mean? All day, you know this, all day we are in conversations in our own head about whatever it is that we're experiencing. You might make a mistake, and if you're anything like me, you might make way too many of them. And then your first instinct is to say, oh my gosh, why am I such an idiot? You been there? I hope you've been there. I hope it's not just me feeling this way. But you ask yourself, why am I such an idiot? And your brain's forced to answer. You're like, well, I didn't have the best education, or I didn't work that hard at school, or I never really been the smartest kid in my class, and maybe it's just the way that I've been wired. And your brain's just forced to answer that question. What that positive person in your life is most likely doing, whether they're doing it on a conscious or subconscious level, is when they make a mistake, rather than saying, why am I such an idiot, they've trained themselves to see a more positive situation. They've trained themselves to see the possible positivity that can be found in that situation. They might ask themselves, what's this going to teach me? A completely different question, isn't it? Your brain is forced in a whole new direction. How can I grow from this experience? Am I going to be thankful for this experience in 10 years? How will this help me develop over the next 10 years? I mean, when we continually force ourselves to ask a positive question, our whole focus is changed because our mind is forced to answer that question in a brand new way. This is something, like I said, it's like a gym membership for your mind. It's going to take a little while. And this, honestly, a lot of you out there probably thinking, no, Ty, this is way too simple. This can never work. And that's enough inspiration for us not to come back. But I can promise you, how have you been feeling lately? I mean, maybe you're feeling good and you can see exactly what I'm speaking about now. You're looking at the potential that you have and you're thinking, man, like how have I developed so well? And your brain's answering that question. Man, how have I improved so much? And your brain answers that question. Or maybe, in all honesty, you're like me the last couple of weeks and you're in a little bit of a rut. You just seem to feel more negative than what you've usually felt in the past. And you're thinking, oh, why am I such an idiot? And you know exactly what I mean because you can see the negativity that comes from that. But next couple of days, I want to focus on a few aspects. But until Wednesday, when we focus on the next aspect of the mind, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this focus. I want you to think about how you're feeling and what it is that you're focusing on. Because a lot of the time, it's not that there's no positivity to be seen. It's just that you're focusing on something other than that positivity. And I'm not one of those guys who's all about, hey, just stay positive, man, no matter what it is that you're going through. I'm just a big fan of not going through our day depressed and anxious and stressed purely because of the fact that we're focused on the negativity. As I said, this is going to be something, guys, that takes us a little while to get used to. So if you're thinking, Tice, I've tried this before, it doesn't work, hey, this podcast is here for you to be able to keep coming back to be able to keep listening to be able to keep applying. Because like a gym membership, you don't see the results overnight. I mean, you'll see small improvements and you might even feel a bit better. You might just get that ball rolling. But if you can keep going and applying and committing, before you know it, this is going to be a whole new element of your mindset. You'll be that positive guy that everyone wants us to be around because they just like that. They know that he's seeing something that everyone else isn't seeing. So regardless of what you're going through right now, I mean, I've been on that side of the fence where you feel depressed and anxious and like there's no way out. This exact thing applies to you. All it is a focus. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not weird. You're not crazy. You're like me. You get into those moments, you think, far out, what's my issue? Why is it that I suck and everyone else has got it together? It's not that at all. Usually people just don't talk about it because they're so scared about being the odd one out. I know that's me in these moments a lot of the time, till I just had so many of them I couldn't not talk about it anymore. So guys, I really want to encourage you, if you felt flat for a little while now, if you feel as though you keep hitting dead ends, hey, don't stress. Don't stress. A lot of it is your focus. What you focus on, you tend to see. I want you to keep reminding yourself of that. I want you to keep practicing on it. I want you to keep looking for the potential in a situation rather than the negativity. I want you to look for how you've grown rather than why you suck. And on Wednesday, we're going to come back for round 2 of this mini mindset series. Guys, pumped that you're here. I'm really excited for you. Keep working at it. We do this together. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me, TysonPopplestone.com. and click the contact button. I get all my own emails. I respond to all my own emails. So if you want to talk, hey, reach out there, guys. Super pumped you're here, and I'll chat to you really soon. Big love.
Wow.